This is me, Tom, and my wife, Lynn Shelburne. This video is going to cover the design and build process for our 1997 Bluebird All-American bus. Of course, we had to start with removing the seats. There's Lynn using a wrench and a grinder. It was a long process. I think it took us almost 2 days. Lynn and I worked constantly on the drawing and the design of the bus. She drew 4, 5, maybe 600 different versions of it. We finally settled on one, and it was time to start gathering materials for the build. The 5 water tanks will all be mounted up underneath the bus. I picked up about 50 used bed frames off Craigslist and cut them up and welded them together for the actual frames. The tanks themselves are sandwiched between pieces of plywood and the metal frames, and then hung with unistrut on 1/2-inch rod underneath the bus. The water heater had sheet metal damage when it was shipped, so I used steel angle around the outside edges of it to both reinforce and straighten the sheet metal and to provide a mounting flange to the exterior of the bus. Here are the holes being cut in the side of the bus for the water heater. Here's the compost toilet, uses no water, and my wife and I empty this about every 2 weeks or so. The 4 solar panels are mounted on the top of the bus using unistrut. The unistrut is securely mounted to the roof and triple sealed. Special steel mounts holding the panels to the frames. After the completion of the mounting, the bus was moved outside and sealed with 2 coats of Henry's Arctic Cool silicone oils rubber sealant. There are 2 60-amp MPPT controllers and a 3,000 watt 12 to 110 volt converter. There are 5 sealed 220 amp hour batteries, the type that are used in computer backup rooms, and a solid copper bus bar interconnecting them all. When we did start finally framing, we went with a design, let's just call it design number 5. Where a wall was bisecting the center of a window, I used angle iron welded to the frame of the bus to stiffen the stud in that location. My son helping me create the windowsills, and there are the windowsills in place. Here you can see the design taking shape. We chose tile for the countertops because of the durability, the cost, and the ease of installation. double stainless steel sink was purchased on Amazon. My wife hand-formed this 3-inch thick mortar bed for the tile. The walls are made of plywood, cement board, and then coated in red guard, which goes on pink and then dries quite red when it's done. This provides a elastomeric waterproof seal and prevents tiles from cracking. The cabinet doors were manufactured and assembled and painted. A lot of this work we did in the National Forest while boondocking. We decided we would have to manufacture our own curtain rods, as the ones commercially available were both too cheaply made and too expensive. So we decided, why not use rebar? I then welded everything together and we painted and primed them. Then it was time to make the actual curtain. We purchased the material and my wife made all of those. Then it was time for flooring. We used a quality underlayment and then did the install over that. A range hood was an important part of keeping cooking odors and moisture out of the bus. One of the last projects we did was to install a quality sliding window in the rear of the bus. The front entryway needed an upgrade from the standard bus steps. Remove the rubber flooring, laid down a quality industrial flooring, built a bookshelf where there used to be a heater, and put diamond plate around all the steps. It really made the area more durable as an entryway and looks a hell of a lot better. The bus was pressure washed, the reflective tape was removed and sanded, any dings were filled in, the bus was primed, the windows were covered with steel plates, and after all the masking, the bus was sprayed with 2 coats of good direct-to-metal paint. It is a semi-gloss paint and has held up well over the last several years. Let's not forget about that motor. Beautiful 8.3 Cummins turbo diesel. Here is the first night we spent in it and the morning after, Mother's Day of 2018. We have been living in the bus for well over 3 years now. It has been parked in California for the last several years. It is still completely drivable and ready to go on the road at a moment's notice. The bus has 150 gallons of fresh water storage, 100 gallons of gray water storage, a fridge that runs on 3 different power sources, 1200 watts of solar panels, 2 60 amp MPPT charge controllers, a 3000 watt inverter with 5 220 amp hour 12 volt batteries, a 100-pound propane tank. This summer, to prepare for the fire season in California, we unplugged and were off of the grid for 1 entire month. We used the same appliances and enjoyed the same comforts as we did as if we were plugged in. We did, however, use a little more propane.